Hey, buddy.
Hey, I'm here.
I see that.
I was here. Wow, we've never got to the end of that song
So
before.
we got all the way to the end of that song because Cameron hit me with some stuff I wasn't expecting.
Some stuff that's great.
And, well, that just changed the tenor of the show.
You know what, Steve? Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my man.
You could be a crotchety... I stopped it. So we're early in the show. I pulled. Did you hear that? You could be a crotchety old man because it's your birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Okay, all right. Seriously, everybody tell Steve happy birthday. He's an absolutely fantastic person. If you've never met him in person, Steve is often the quickest wit, the most biting satire, and yeah.
Dark.
What? Oh,
Dark.
Funny, but dark.
I attribute a great deal of Steve's dark humor and its development to his limited capacity to intake light.
See, I was gonna. I thought about it all morning, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna make any jokes along those lines. And then Tim and Chris, you.
And see, that one was perfect because, you know, there's a lot of people in the audience that don't know Steve, but if you know, you know.
Let's say hey to some other people, and then talk about the thing that I hit you with.
Yeah, no shit. So let's see who's in the chat already this morning. Well, Danny drew first blood. On
Facebook.
And yeah, just watch it on Facebook. What's going on, Danny? And Steve was in there right after her. We got Fish and Golf and Guns. Good morning. FTP, happy FAF from GCM. I love the TLFAs there, my man.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's a lot of alphabets going on there. And then there's...
And Crack Shot.
Right. Yeah, I guess could say good morning to your wife.
Hey, and Fee said happy birthday to Steve. Good morning, baby. How are you?
Awake, dealing with your children, do your show.
So actually, babe, I'm glad you're watching this morning because Cam just hit me with something that I didn't even know nothing about.
Yeah, I just this is my fault when this gets introduced into your house. So
give it a minute. So Schumer demands FTC investigation into JR-15 rifle marketed to kids. Disgusting. Okay.
Oh no.
Schumer is the opposite of all things good. Okay?
He's not quite Adam Schiff, but I mean he's related to Amy Schumer, and I feel like that should count extra points off against him. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't have Amy Schumer.
Exactly. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Thursday he and other Democrats would ask the Federal Trade Commission to investigate the marketing of a JR-15 rifle to kids, which Schumer called a disgusting and morally bankrupt new low in light of recent mass shootings involving children. But think about the children. We are thinking about the children, Schumer.
That's why we built this gun.
That's precisely why such a gun is necessary. Children should learn early about the safe care and handling of firearms. Right? We don't have a Second Amendment right for but nobody's coming for your guns. You'll still be able to go hunting and oh really?
Yeah. So
let me tell you something about that idea that, you'll still be able to go hunting. Outside of the United States, there is no Second Amendment. In the vast majority of countries, right, now you got really one standout in Sweden, where basically everybody, you got two. Israelis carry rifles all over the place too. But the this idea that the Second Amendment is so that you can enjoy sports and, target practice and hunting, that is not what the Second Amendment is for. The Second Amendment is explicitly to preserve the remainder of the freedom. And you look at countries around the world where they do not have the Second Amendment, where it is not a part of their cultural tradition. You do not have free speech. The lockdowns were more dramatic, more damaging, more devastating. Take Australia, for example, where the Schumers of the world love to point at Australia and their buyback, the mandatory buyback, where following the buyback there was a sudden sharp rise in crime. No surprise to anyone. But more importantly, fast forward from the buyback to the COVID lockdowns, and all of a sudden, Australia literally had concentration camps for the maybe exposed, not the confirmed infected, for those who may have been exposed.
Oh yeah, and lest we not forget the Canada, the trucker convoy in Canada, and remember they might be armed. They didn't know that the truckers were armed. They thought that the truckers might be armed. So they're like, maybe we should let the truckers protest for a couple of days. It's funny how that works, how the First and Second Amendment really go hand in hand. Can you flip it back over?
I just took my 12-year-old daughter to the range with Granddad a couple of weeks ago, and we had a blast.
Okay. Can you flip? Yeah, awesome. All right. So Schumer says that's code for young children. No, it's not code. It's obviously geared toward children, Mr. Schumer, and you know this. So later today, I and a group of my colleagues will ask the FTC to investigate the company that makes and advertises the JR-15. That's right. We're going to use the federal government to jam you up with regulation because you're doing a thing we don't like. We must shed more light on the prevalence of guns in our society, and regulators must take stronger steps to keep guns out of the hands of children. Why do regulators need to do that? And honestly, take more light to shed the prevalence. Is there anybody on planet Earth that doesn't think of America as the land of guns and bacon?
Well,
let me get a little further, and then I promise I'm done with it.
Because we got to get back to this word regulators. That's an incredibly important word.
All right. We Want Tactical sells JR-15s, and it's a way parents can pass down the tradition of hunting and shooting sports to their children. Parents and guardians wishing to preserve this tradition have taken the responsibility for introducing children to the safe, responsible use of firearms. The company says on its website, the JR-15, a 22 long rifle, sporting rifle, is designed to facilitate that, making a young person's first shooting experiences safe and instructive. Okay? Now I'm done. I just wanted to make sure we had the meat of all the facts here.
So I want to get back to this word regulators, right? He says, we must shed more light on the prevalence of guns in our society, and regulators must take stronger steps to keep the guns out of the hands of children. It's important that you understand why he uses that word regulators, why he's pushing on something like the Federal Trade Commission, instead of, as should be the case if you want to change the law, doing it with legislatures. Because what he's going to do, what he's going to try and force to happen, is he is going to use an authority which does not possess the legal, constitutional authority to deprive you of your right to keep and bear arms. And he is going to have them create an artificial bar to the exercise of your rights. This is a more insidious form of licensure where your rights are taken away from you at gunpoint and then sold back to you. Right? This is not different. What Schumer is suggesting here, using the FTC to directly assault a person's right to keep and bear arms and your right to raise your own children. Right? Let's not forget, we're talking about Schumer. We're talking about a pro-abortion, pro-infanticide, a pro-child mutilation Democrat who launders money through Planned Parenthood and hates your children. Remember, these people don't have children. They have your children. That's the point of a public education system. So this is no different than the ATF banning pistol braces. You don't have that authority, ATF.
Apparently they think they do.
Your taking of that authority is a usurpation of constitutional grant. Right? We are beyond abolish the ATF. We are at incarcerate every ATF agent. Because let me be very, very clear. When the ATF, when a non-legislative body of the U.S. government crafts law and implements it, there's a word for that. That's called a coup. That is the non-legal usurpation of constitutional authority and should be dealt with promptly because it is the conduct of war against your rights. Every person in a position to do that has taken an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America. And when you have somebody like a Chuck Schumer take maneuvers like this, we have a law. We have a law to deal with this situation, right? Deprivation of civil liberties under color of law. This isn't complicated. That law is very clear. Up to and including the death penalty for the use of civil authority or the claim of civil authority used in the activity of depriving a citizen of their constitutionally protected rights. I don't care if you're shutting down a guy with a camera on a public street or stealing guns from a lawfully armed citizen. The penalty is the penalty. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who breaks that particular law should be put to death. That's what I personally believe, but under the language of the law, it depends on the severity of the result of the deprivation. But I would argue that the severity of the law, the severity of the outcome, depending on deprivation, if you're taking people's guns away, then the probable outcome is that that person has been deprived of their right to defend their own life. And so you have incurred the maximum penalty under the language of the law. Chuck Schumer.
Steve says turn your heater off. I can hear it coming through the...
I can too, but sorry.
I'm just...
That switch is upstairs.
It only seems to happen when it's below freezing, too. Okay, so I guess we just have to keep talking so that the background noise doesn't compete with it. So, first thing, your wife says we should arm more people, as in make more, not give ours away. That is, I feel, the Brush Fire Mine's official stance, arm the world. No, you mean arm, yep. Well, what about, yep? I mean arm the world. Everybody, all right? You want to level the playing field? That's how you do it, okay?
Well, look at Ukraine. There may be no good guys, but the immediate answer when Russia came across the border was
absolutely.
Arm the citizens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man,
and we sat here and said, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, it's amazing how there's nothing you could do against an army with your AR-15s, except for when you need to...
Yeah, you'll notice, take America, for example. If Canada, say, were to invade the United States, our first response would not be, oh, God, we need a government program to arm the citizens. Because we would look at you and say, no, fam, we got this.
Dude, are you kidding? I don't think any country, seriously, I don't think any, even if China somehow were to able to mass troops in Mexico and try and march them up through the border, or ditto for Canada, I don't think they'd make it more than like 50 miles inland.
Right.
Like they just wouldn't. Okay, so there's that, and then
I mean, if they landed in California, they make it to Oakland.
Hey, the heater's off.
Yay!
Yes, a gun behind every blade of grass. That is correct. But there's a couple other things here that are important. One, when you talk about those regulators, you're basically talking about a group of people that are like Dr. Fauci. Yeah, that are going to say, "Oh, shame on you for buying a gun specially designed to let you teach your children how to use a rifle." And this ties into the other thing. There's not just gun ownership in this country. There is an entire culture that surrounds guns. You want to see economic lines disappear. You want to see racial lines disappear. You want to see gender lines disappear. Go to a range. Okay? Suddenly, everybody there is on the same page. Doesn't matter where they were born. Doesn't matter how old they are. Doesn't matter where they're at in life. They're all the same people. There is a thing that happens when you teach your children to shoot. It is a family experience. It is a bonding experience. You're not just teaching them how to use a weapon. You're teaching them a lifestyle, a mindset, even. Chuck Schumer hates this. The gun is immaterial. Well, not entirely, but for the larger argument, the gun is immaterial because it's not the gun necessarily that Schumer has a problem with. It's the mindset you teach a child when you show them how to use one of these weapons. And something like this, that's going to fire 22, but function like an AR-15, really is the best of both worlds. Buddy, take them out squirrel hunting with that. Right.
Well, I've got the big airsoft collection. We use it for props and occasionally. It's been a while since I did a Milsim game, but in that collection, one of the things I have a couple of propane-powered AR-15 replicas, M4 replicas, which are mechanically identical to a real weapon, except where there would be a firing pin in a real firearm, there's a gas nozzle for the propane to expel the BB. But the action still works the same, right? It's still gas-fed. It's still, recycles the round every time it fires. recocks the hammer and pushes the next round to the chamber. It's mechanically the same. And I've taken that to like Boy Scouts events, right? And we'll set up the range and we'll shoot crackers or shoot paper targets or whatever with the BB guns, and they're toys, right? For all purposes, they're toys. But then we can take that one that's mechanically real, and we can break it down and open it up without the kids having to put their hands on a dangerous firearm, and walk them through. This is how you clean your weapon. This is how you do maintenance on your weapon. This is how you understand how the weapon works. Now that you understand how the weapon works mechanically, you'll understand how to deal with a misfire, a malfunction. Here's how you apply corrective action in the event of a malfunction, so you can continue to engage the enemy and remove commies from the planet as God intended.
We got it.
But something like this, it's basically that.
It's basically that, except it shoots actual bullets. It has it really is the sweet spot of everything that you need. If you, like, I would tell you that 3 of the 4 of my children would be big enough, old enough, mature enough. This would be an excellent investment, and they would even get to feel like, man, I even have a real gun. And there are certain things that I would do to keep it safe. Most gun owners would, and all that kind of stuff. This really is. They're horrified, and you know what? I'm horrified that I didn't think of this. This is brilliant. You want to talk about riches are in the niches? Like, man, this is a hell of a niche right here. So,
and just out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and look this bad.
It's called Weed Tactical.
Yeah,
like that's phenomenal.
And yeah, Weed Tactical. How to buy? I don't see a price tag for it. That's a pity. I was hoping I could find a price on it real quick to talk about. Oh, wait.
Steve says 22 ARs have been around for over 30 years. This is nothing new other than the smaller scale. Schumer is a retread. I'm going to assume he meant retard. And I guess retread is also true. And yes, the 22s, that look like ARs have been around for decades. What Schumer has a problem with this is the optics.
Yeah.
Like, it's called the JR-15, and he hates that because it's, frankly, it's brilliant marketing. Like, as soon as I heard, yes, the JR-15, I didn't need to hear anything else. I knew exactly what it was.
And Alex McDonald says the Democrats' claim is that it's being marketed directly to children, but if you go to the website, the very first thing you have to do is an age confirmation. That's correct. I literally just did that. I just went to the website, and the first thing it did was ask me if I'm 18.
If we're being fair, I think we can say it's being marketed to families.
Correct.
That's what it's being marketed to.
Yeah, the clear intent is Daddy takes Junior out and teaches him how to operate a rifle with one that's not quite so scary as the 50 BMG.
Right.
You don't want the first trigger you pull to be an 8-gauge shotgun, just for example.
Right. Well, and there's
baby
a whole
steps.
And there's a whole thing about how AR is actually a fairly heavy rifle, and so if you've got something smaller and lighter. So yeah.
Right.
Anyhow, do you want to try and get through I knew we were going to have fun with that one. The JR-15. Like, I love everything about it. Teach your kids about freedom.
Okay, you want to read this one? Because it's a shooting in Chicago.
And then real quick, Steve's, because it's his birthday, we're going to indulge him and says, it's a moot point, really. We all know kids are better suited to crew serve weapons.
Yeah, that's true.
that's okay, buddy. Where's the Maudus?
They're small. They need a support. The Maudus. I don't actually have a Maudus.
You don't. I know you don't. That's not the. Anyhow,
I have a replica 240 Bravo.
You have a BB gun.
I said replica 240 Bravo.
Oh, okay. All right. Concealed carry holder pulled his gun and shot another man who tried to rob him at gunpoint on a CTA Green Line train on Friday, police said. I didn't even know you could get a concealed carry permit in Chicago. Like, who did this guy?
Maybe Illinois has reciprocity with another state.
I don't know, man. Like, I just want to know who this guy gave a handy under the table to while he was filling out his application.
Probably Chuck Schumer.
No, Chuck Schumer's from New York. Nice try.
It's not
almost
that far away.
I don't know. I don't know. Like,
let's do.
I was going to make a joke about fellatio and Cheetle juice, but it got away from me. A concealed carry holder pulled out his gun and shot another man who tried to rob him at gunpoint on the CTA Green Line. Around 4:43 p.m., Chicago police say the 25-year-old male victim was on the train in the 4700 block of Westlake Street when he was approached by the 33-year-old male offender who pulled out a gun and announced a robbery. The victim then produced a firearm of his own, and there was an exchange of gunfire, police said. The victim was not struck, but the offender was in the leg. He was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital in fair condition. The incident occurred during the evening rush hour. Xavier Hartford relies on the Green Line train every day, and he says safety is his biggest concern. I actually take a knife with me everywhere I go because I don't feel safe on public transportation, he said. It's crazy that you have to worry about defending your own life. Charges were pending against the offender. The investigation is ongoing. Holy shit, who wrote this article?
That's a good question.
Because
it's from Fox 32 Chicago.
Oh, wow. Because look, nobody allegedly did anything, right? They referred to the victim, the potential robbery victim, as the actual victim. They didn't try and color the story as though this is somehow some madhouse thing that happened, though.
This story was written by Nate Rogers.
Nate Rogers, way to do your job.
Yeah, no doubt.
And like just report the facts without trying to make it seem like there's some nefarious plot. What's funny?
I can't say it. I'll tell you later.
Okay, fair enough.
But it hurts me a little because it's so funny. So Alex McDonald points out as Cameron was kind of quipped, I didn't know you could get a license there. Alex McDonald points out Chicago was ordered by the Supreme Court to issue carry permits, and that was the McDonald decision. And yeah, Alex, you're probably right. I'm sure it's virtually impossible to get one there, but not totally, apparently. And Steve Rodemeyer says, knives for protection. That's a nasty idea. I do not want to be in a knife fight. No, you don't. You've seen the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. There's the one guy that makes a big deal out of guns are no good because they're loud and people think you're less likely to use them. Knives are quiet, scary, big, shiny, dangerous fucking shiny knives. Oh, yeah. Guns for show, knives for a pro. I'm like, yeah, that's adorable if you're a special ops guy working for Canada. But given your options, the gun is the superior weapon. It's that simple. I mean, unless you are conducting covert, clandestine assassination missions, a knife is a tool for eating apples, right? Now, and I ain't saying you can't use a knife to fight if it's the option available. Please do. But let me tell you, rule number one of a knife fight: plan on getting cut. That's part of the game. I promise you.
Oh yeah. There's no such thing. Everybody, if you're lucky, you get stitches at the end of the knife fight. And that means exactly what you think it means.
Yep.
That is the optimal outcome. And
all right. Well, that brings us to 8 o'clock. I would love to do another one, but I got to go help the Smudge load up a truck. Before I can go shoot houses, and then go help the Smudge unload the truck.
Have fun with that.
It's going to be that kind of a day.
Have fun with it one more time. Happy birthday to the Hammer, Steve Rodemeyer.
Yes.
And he gets all the special shout outs because if there was a third member of the BFM, It would be the Steve.
Yep. Okay, so y'all be safe out there. We love you. Thanks for watching. Your safety brief this morning: knife fights are for those who didn't plan ahead.
Or for those who planned way far ahead.
Y'all be safe. We love you, and we will see you on Monday.